Welcome back to the Overthinking Podcast, the show where we lift heavy, overthink everything, and help you dispel the fitness chaos so you can actually make sense of it. If we have any OG listeners, you might remember our Fit and Feral episode. Well, we're bringing it back, baby.
So, can you black out and still hit PRs? In our first episode, we broke down just how you might not need to give up your entire social life if you want to see progress, but with a little nuanced take, of course. In this week's episode, we're resurfacing all that good insight so you can prioritize your results and enjoy your life.
And our audio won't suck. So good for us. But first,
Oh, that was different. We remixed that.
well, this is the Fit and Feral remix.
Chicka chicka
So
remix.
we want to know, what is your ultimate hangover rot setup? If you're not familiar with the term rot, we're going to tell you.
I
It's
don't
one of
know
my
what
favorite
girl.
things.
I don't know what girl is not familiar with the rot. We love a couch rot.
There's honestly nothing better than waking up on a Sunday morning and then knowing that it's Sunday and you don't have any plans and nothing to do and all your
Yes.
chores are done.
Yes. It's been a long time since I've been hungover, but I think
It
my
could just be a rot
ideal
sesh.
yeah, I think my ideal for the sake of the theme, hangover rot sesh is probably previous Kelsey would have made current Kelsey soup. So that would be in the fridge waiting for me because I'm a planner. I'm always thinking 5 steps ahead. So I'd be having soup all day because, it's just the best thing when you don't feel well.
Yep.
And I would probably put on some movie that has like multiple sequels, like Harry Potter or Dune or Lord of the Rings. That's my ideal hangover. I'm not moving from this one location day.
Amazing. That's truly amazing.
And a diet
That's
root beer.
a diet root beer. What
Mm.
other foods would you have nearby?
Probably fruit because that's like the one thing that I crave when I do like drink the next day.
Why do you think that is?
Probably because your body is lacking nutrients and water, so you're just like a little sponge, like it's like the SpongeBob meme when he's like, "Water."
Water.
Like, that's why I think your body wants fruit or nutrients because 'cause you're just, like, totally withering away.
Yes, 100%. My hangover rot setup is either on my couch or on my bed. You do the couch, so I'm gonna do my bed. I would be in my bed completely propped up with like probably 6 to 8 pillows. Just the perfect little lounge chair of pillows. And
One
then
under
I
each
have,
arm.
yeah, one under each arm, one under my knees, maybe four in some sort of configuration behind me. And then I have my TV on, which I actually don't even have a TV in my apartment here. So,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
So, but I would have a TV and it would have some sort of reality show that could just go on forever. Or like you were doing like a sequel or like a series of like a similar kind, like a Bridesmaids and then The Hangover and like all that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But the most important thing would be the food, and I would
Yes.
have Thai food.
Ooh, that's a
Panang
great
curry and Thai time in North Park will always be the goat for this, but
mm.
because they had the salmon Panang curry, and it
Ooh,
was this, like, big fillet of salmon and right on top, and it was so good.
yum, I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, you absolutely do. DoorDash, it was, like, my number 1. I think the only thing I DoorDashed was that,
That's how I am with pho. My only thing I've ever DoorDash or Postmates is pho.
which is interesting because I feel like you could make pho pretty well.
Yeah, I've tried, it's just not as good.
Just doesn't hit.
There's, like
Underbelly?
no, I don't get pho from Underbelly, I actually get it from Pho on 5th.
Pho on 5th.
Pho on 5th in
Amazing.
Hillcrest.
Well, let's get into setting the tone.
So, let's start by saying this. Alcohol isn't evil, but it is data, just like macros, training volume, steps, and honestly, beverage calories are one of the sneakiest inputs that you might not be accounting for.
And I think we're all collectively tired of the two extremes: either restrict everything and enjoy nothing, or drink every day, carefree culture. Rose all day, right? But I feel like there's room for a little bit of both, right? Everything that we talk about on this podcast is about the nuance. And
Balance.
so and balance, yeah, nuance and balance. And yes, you can have too much of a good thing and even too much balance, like if you're stressing out about it. That's why we wanted to have this podcast so that you don't have to stress out anymore. We just want you to have the tools so you can make the most informed and smartest decision for you and your goals.
And normalizing that there's no perfect path, like you're going to fluctuate in either direction. Was there ever a time, Brie, that you were living in one extreme or another? Like, I mean, classically, Brie had a Finsta that was Brie in the streets. So
Yes, so we know that
presumably there
person.
was presumably there was a time where you were drinking all the time, right?
Yes, and the season that preceded that one, actually, as an athlete my whole life, Division One rower and then into competitive CrossFit, I rarely drank in my adolescence. Like, I had my 20s in my 30s, which was
Mhm.
basically, like, 2 years,
Yeah.
and that's the Brie in the Streets time. But really, like, I was very comfortable sacrificing drinking and going out and social engagements for performance, right? It wasn't until a little bit later when I started competing in CrossFit and became, like, increasingly aware of my body composition that I
Mhm.
started giving up alcohol and going out for more of an aesthetics focus.
Mm.
And honestly, that was, like, a pretty tough time. Like, there was no time like, I didn't give myself the space to, like, let my yayas out. Like, I was like, "This is the plan, stick to it, don't deviate," and I would get so down on myself if I would, like,
Mhm.
deviate from my macros or, you know, end up having a glass of wine or 2 when I, like, would visit my parents. Like, it was, like, a negative battle in my head
Yeah.
because I wanted so badly to be this robot, but I had this urge of, like, wanting to go out and be social and just be around people,
Yeah.
and
So
I
you
don't know,
had
I
this, like, mental turmoil with yourself
yes,
when if you just, like, gave yourself a little extra leash, you might have found a better place to land.
and if I had better tools too.
Yeah.
Like, if I had had this podcast, like, 8 years ago, I would have avoided so many pitfalls, but I actually would say that the Brie in the Streets time was kind of like the downfall because of all of those years that I had been so dialed in and so to the gram and the calorie that I just was like this Tasmanian devil that needed to get let out, and I
Yeah.
think that a lot of women struggle with this too when it comes to carbs, when it comes to alcohol, when it comes to anything.
Yeah.
Too much can be a good thing, or too much of
Sure.
a good thing can be a bad thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
How about you?
I'm similar to you where I was living in probably a little bit of both extremes in different periods of my life. I actually got all my feral stages out young. I spent a lot of my time in high school.
What does your young feral sage look like?
I had a fake ID at 16.
My
This
girl.
baby face, who is believing that this baby face is over 21 at any point in my life? I still get carded. Um, but I was feral. I was rowdy. I was the person who was bringing the bottle of Sailor Jerry's, barf, to every single party. I was sneaking out of my house every Friday, Saturday. But by the time I got to college, I was like, "Oh, I've already done all that."
Oh.
And by the time I graduated college, I went through this, other extreme where I was like lasered in, similar to you, on fitness. And I was like, I was very small. Like I was a stick person. I was like, I just want to be super shredded and lean, but I didn't really have muscle yet. So I gave up drinking, even though I worked in bars my entire 20s pretty much. And I was just like, "No, I don't drink, I don't drink." So I was, like, isolating myself by not going out if I wasn't at work,
Mm.
and I would actually go to the gym in Friday nights and Saturday nights, go work out, spend, like, 30 to 40 minutes on the cardio equipment, and I would just go home, and I just felt super isolated. I didn't get out and socialize, so it was kind of like its own negative environment in
I can
itself.
only imagine, like, you watching everyone be social at work, and then when you're not at work, you're still working. You're,
Yeah,
like, on the elliptical doing Stairmaster, all that.
yeah,
I think it's just a really important thing to highlight is that there is so much social aspect when it comes to drinking.
mhm,
Like, they are almost synonymous in the American culture.
yeah,
And we were talking about this earlier today that we're seeing trends going the other way, but really, like, the American culture has so much drinking involved, sports
yeah,
games, events, birthdays, holidays, and that's part of the reason why we wanna talk about this today also because 'cause we're in October, we're nearing the holidays with Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, where there's going to be a lot of that coming on. So we want to make sure that you have the tools. So let's start with a little bit of math.
Yeah. So if we remember from episode 22, which is how many calories, where we showed you how to break down your calories and macros, we broke down the calories and macros. So protein and carbs have 4 calories per gram, fat has 9 calories per gram. And then let's also note for the sake of this episode that alcohol has 7 calories per gram. So, unlike the other macronutrients, alcohol calories give you nothing in return. No nutrients, no building blocks, only temporary joy and pain.
And actually, when we do drink, our body prioritizes that alcohol because it is a toxin. So let's break that down. So if you're not trying to do mental math at the club, then a hard seltzer is about 100 calories. Red wine is about 125 to 150 calories. My favorite, a dirty vodka martini, is about 170 calories. But
Dirty.
but there are these mixed drinks like margaritas, and depending on how much sugar and flavoring is used, like those syrups and stuff, it can be anywhere between like 250 to 400 plus calories. And then imagine if you have like two or three of those, like you're on an all inclusive vacation or something, you're
Now you're
really
like
racking
1,200
them up.
calories.
You are rack city on that B.
You're rack-toing up on these bitches.
But like also imagine if alcohol beverages had protein.
Oh my god. I'm surprised no companies have done that.
I wonder there has to be a reason why. There's probably something, like, chemical that's, like, wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully people would see through that and be like, "This is something doesn't
Maybe I
make
should
sense."
make my espresso martini with the Legion cinnamon cereal milk.
It would probably be delicious.
Oh my
Maybe?
god.
I don't
Oh my
know.
god, it'd be so the plant protein specifically. What actually happens when you drink alcohol? I started to get ahead of myself, but I want you to tell us.
So, what actually happens when you drink alcohol? Maybe you've heard that drinking slows your metabolism or pauses fat burning. Well, this may be partly true, but it depends on how many drinks and your current body status. So, for example, how much muscle you have, your age, your drinking frequency. Because your body doesn't have a functional need for alcohol calories, it will try to get rid of it first.
Yep. And so it's not like you ruined your progress when we drink. It's just that your body stops doing its repairing processes for muscle protein synthesis to deal with the three, maybe four tequila shots first, because it's seen as like this invader. And your body's like, oh no, bring out the troops. We got to fight the invader first. We can't be, knitting over here and making things better around here. We got to like attack the attacker. So, excessive drinking might have other negative effects like disrupting your sleep, poor recovery from exercise, like getting late night food, like Taco Bell after going out. But I'm sure we've all been there and like woken up the next day, felt inflamed and puffy, or like the SpongeBob like raisin like water.
Yes.
But the reality is that, like, you haven't ruined your progress. Like, sure, your body's gonna feel a bit like shit. Your lifts might not feel so great for the next day or 2. You might be a little extra sore if you lifted that day.
Mhm.
But it's not like ruining your long-term progress. I mean, if you do this every single weekend, multiple times a week, sure, like, you're not gonna be repairing the muscle tissue, so then your training's kinda just, like, wasted in a way.
Yeah.
Not wasted, I mean, there's so much more that comes from training than just, building muscle and changing your body, but if that's your primary focus,
Yeah.
seems
You're
kinda like a
you're
waste.
capping your gains a little bit.
Yeah.
So, what I'm hearing is we might need a little balance in our life, not too much, but we also gotta live a little.
Yeah, and if you're gonna go out, rule number 1, never go out starving. That's a surefire way to make sure that you inhale tortilla chips, Taco Bell, DoorDash like a feral raccoon. So instead, I always tell my clients fill your pregame day with lean protein, veggies, some sort of like carb, like a starch, like oats or quinoa or rice, but really try to get 3 solid meals. And this will make sure that your calories are controlled, also give you fiber to reduce the alcohol hit, and also keep your blood sugar stable, which we know is an effect from alcohol. I also suggest doing a morning workout or some sort of movement in the morning to kind of rev up your metabolism, but really just kind of get your system firing. Just do your favorite workout, like choose your favorite movements, pair it together, make it really fun. But do something, 30 to 40 minutes just to get your blood moving, and try to give yourself plenty of time between your lift. If you're going to actually lift instead of doing just some like general movement, if you're going to lift, try to give yourself a little bit more time between when you have your first drink or when you're going out, just so your body has a little bit of that buffer time to recover.
Yeah, so you
Um,
mean, like, don't destroy my legs and then immediately hit up the bar?
I mean, it's just that, the troops are in. The troops are going to be called in. And so all of those little muscle fibers in your legs are going to be like, wait, wait,
You might
wait.
just be, like, extra sore the next morning.
Extra sore, and honestly, like, it does open the door for injury, I would say. Like, if you
Yeah,
consistently are doing this and not giving yourself appropriate time to recover, and say on top of this, you're super stressed, and say on top of this, you also didn't sleep very well, you're just kind of racking up these ways to, upset your progress. Those are ways that can derail your progress. But having a couple drinks, especially if you had some water, had some food, did a little workout, like, you're kind of set up for success. What I would also suggest is going into whatever social situation you're going to go into with an intention. Make a promise to yourself, whether that's a drink cap or it's honestly just a response to your like biggest drinker friend who's like, let's do shots. And you're like, okay. Instead, like have something planned where you're like, I'm stopping at 2, or just something that's already rehearsed, because that way, when you alternate between like your drink and water, or you say no, it doesn't feel weird, doesn't throw the vibe off, you know?
right, right. Yeah, so you're kinda getting ahead of that. Was there ever a time that you, like, fumbled this routine where you're like, "Shit, I'm going out," but you haven't eaten?
Yes. Oh
What
my god.
happened?
Honestly, after, like, sports, like, sometimes when I
Mm,
play, like, football in the morning, the games are, like, at 9 or 10, and I'll have, like, my pregame meal, like a little overnight oats and maybe, like, a chicken apple sausage or something, but
yep.
that's surely not enough for an entire day of drinking and
Right.
playing football, like, that meal was just for football.
Yeah,
That wasn't for anything else, and I would say those are the days that I feel like absolute shit for almost the whole weekend.
yeah. What was the consequence, like, in that moment? So you went out, did you just, like, not eat the rest of the day, or did you, like, go to a bar and you binged on bar food?
Let's see. This happened a couple weekends ago. Yeah, we had a game. I had my pregame meal, and then after had drinks, and then we got tacos after, and I ate way more than I would have probably otherwise. I was just
Yeah,
like starving by that time. Like my
yeah,
blood sugar was completely tapped. Like I was tired, sore, had been moving all around, and I just felt like icky, you know?
yeah, yeah. But fortunately, you had played a game, so you had plenty of activity, you just suffered the consequences the next day.
Yeah, and also I will say, like, my hamstrings were, like, a lot more sore the next day. Like,
Yeah,
it does make an impact, but it doesn't mean that my hamstrings are not stronger or getting stronger. Like, yeah, they're just gonna take a little bit longer to recover, and then that way, the next day, I have to be even more cautious of, like, "Okay, what am I gonna train?" Yada, yada. So it's just more mental load, honestly.
yeah, yeah. Sets you off from your whole weekend. So let's talk about like a social script. I know you mentioned like setting an intention, maybe having a discussion with your friends about you wanting to change your behaviors. Maybe you're wanting to drink a little less. I have definitely had a couple of clients previously express to me that they know that they want to stop drinking. They know it's holding them back from seeing like the absolute progress that they want. Most of the time, and I've been here too, you just kind of go along because it's what everyone else is doing. And what do we say when we want to share with our friends that our priorities are shifting?
I think boundaries are in massively important, and, like, really, like, the older we get and, like, more into our 30s, like, the more boundaries we kinda need to set.
Yeah.
So, something like, I don't know, I'm spacing mine out tonight, I actually wanna wake up feeling good, or I have a training session I wanna hit in the morning, or it's a lot easier to set a boundary because you have another commitment, right? It's a lot harder to say, "Oh, I'm not gonna have a drink because," or like, "I'm not drinking tonight." Like,
Right.
there's this like inherent like you versus me thing that happens that's like
Yeah.
so awkward. And so I usually just lean on like situational, like, "Oh, I have this thing in the morning," um, or even like sometimes that if I want to like leave early, I'll be like, I gotta go walk Zoe."
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
they're like,
Dogs
"It's
are a great
midnight." I'm like,
excuse.
"Yep, gotta go walk Zoe, sorry."
Yeah. Dogs are such a good excuse.
great excuse. And I like being the one who, like, remembers the night. Like, I am the one who always takes the photos. Like,
Yes,
if you've
you
been around
are.
me, if I died today and someone knew my passcode to my phone, you would know everything that I did for the last 6 years. Like, there is no question. So, I like having the actual memories, and I feel like when I'm drinking and, like, taking things too far and you don't remember, it's like, it's not really a bonding moment. So you just, like, went out for, like, what if you don't remember it, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, that might have been fine when we were 20, right?
Sure.
But, there's just so much more to life now, and we have more responsibilities, and taking care of your body is a full-time job. Like, when I don't have my Sunday routine of, like, meal prepping, going to the gym, waking up Monday feels so dysregulated, and it gives me more anxiety than I'm even comfortable with.
Yeah, yeah. I do think having another part of, like, having a social script might be also, like, a social partnership. Like, a lot of times
Mm,
I'll lean on, like, a single friend or a couple friends that, agree to kinda have my back that night. Like, I'm trying to feel good in the morning, or I'm trying to pull back on drinking, or, whatever. And just having someone else in my corner that I can kind of look to, like, when, hey, shots, and I, like, can look at that friend and be like, let's go
"Get
outside.
me out of here."
Yeah, let's go somewhere else. But it just gives you a little bit of that accountability, but also that little bit of support when it's so easy to be like, fuck it. Let's just do it. Let's go have the shots. Why not?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so
It's
what
fun
do
in the
you do?
moment.
What do you do? Because you're not someone who drinks that much or that often, so I know it's easier for you to be like, "No." And people are like, "Okay."
Yeah.
But, like, what would you suggest to your clients? Like, what do you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, I love the good old fashioned none for me. And then you just explain that you're really trying to make your health goals a priority this year and like frame it as like you wanting to see a different outcome and the way that your lifestyle is now is not conducive for that.
Yeah,
Again, that takes this like very aware pre-conversation before the night out. So presumably we can get to that place and have that discussion. But, I like what you said of like, oh, I'm just spacing mine out tonight. And like, honestly, if you just grab a water and put a lemon in it, nobody knows that it's not a vodka soda or vodka water.
totally. One thing that has kind of helped me with, pulling back on drinking, and not to, like, replace things, but sometimes that helps, right? If I'm
Mhm.
not gonna be drinking alcohol, sometimes it's nice to have something. So they make these THC beverages that are here
The
in
best.
Chicago. Yeah, they're in Chicago, and they actually sell them, like, at the bars, which is kinda cool. Do you have a favorite kind that you like?
I really like the can just because they're
Yeah.
widely available. I haven't tried a lot of the other ones. I know like the Pabst Blue Ribbon has theirs, but
Oh,
honestly, a lot of them are intimidating because 'cause they're like 25 milligrams, and I'm like, "Bro, chill. I'm trying to, like, sip this and, like, enjoy my time, maybe have a couple. I'm not trying to, like, be in the grass laying face down."
yeah, yeah. So and Can has, like, little packets, like little sachets
Mhm.
too, and I think you can, like, just open it and pour it in, like, if you're out at the bar and you're not having alcohol, that could be another option for you. I
Yep.
think the other, big part of this, like, California sober, like, sober curious era that we're in is actually just giving people the dignity to make their own choices again.
Yeah, I mean, I love a California sober. That's, I think, how I would identify these days. I think what's most important about all of this message from today is one, it's important to not shame yourself for one night out here and there. Again, we want to strike this balance between caring for your body and also enjoying your life. Like, you're not meant to like be depressed and lay on the couch and not be social. We're social creatures. You're meant to go on vacations and enjoy it. So there's value in looking at what we're going to call your weekly scorecard, which is, did you check all the bases that you need to do in order to like meet your goals? So let's outline these a little bit. There's 5 of them. One, did you hit your protein goal for most of the week? Did you hit your steps? So around 8 to 10,000 per day, which is a lot if you've never actually counted. Did you train 3 to 4 times per week? Were your calories mostly locked in? Was alcohol intentional or was it abused?
Exactly. I love this scorecard concept because I always say what you do most of the time matters more than what you do seldom. Usually, it's not just feral Saturday that ruins your goals. It's the feral Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then feeling like shit on Monday, and then having a couple drinks after work on Wednesday, and then meeting with a friend at lunch and a wine on Thursday. That is what really derails your progress. And remember, the calories from beverages are sneaky. And part of the reason why I love this scorecard idea is because when we think about these other 5 things that need to happen in order for you to reach your goals, you realize that did I, be respectful with my drinking this week could be number 6. You look at how alcohol can be crowded out by all these other lifestyle habits and routines and actions. So really this one of 6 things is not really going to crush you, but
Right.
the volume and the frequency does matter.
So if you go hard and you're a little hungover girly, what should we do?
Well, protein breakfast for sure. Just start your day. Just agree that, well, every single day, but especially on drinking days and honestly hangover days, have protein at your breakfast. If I could scream this on the rooftops, I would. The second thing with our SpongeBob's water, please
Water.
have water. Have water and electrolytes. I would say be your own best friend and put a glass of water next to your bed before you go to sleep.
And one thing that I learned in my 30s was taking an Advil liquid gel the night before you go to bed.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Literally
Game
lay
changer.
yes, yes. At work, they were like, "Do you ever take Advil?" I'm like, "Only when I'm drinking." They're like, "You mean after drinking?" I'm like,
No,
"No, the
like,
night
night
of.
before. You
The
have
night
to.
of. You
You have
must.
to.
You must." And if that's
You
the one
must.
tip you leave from this.
Yes.
And then steps. So, like, protein breakfast, electrolytes, steps. Do those 3 things, and then you have, like, earned your right to have a little feral day,
Yep.
okay? Do not starve yourself as punishment, especially the next day when your body is literally living on alcohol as its substrates. Give it some real food, and certainly don't shame yourself. Like, if you drink too much and you feel bad and whatever, you need to right size the mindset first because your brain also is probably depleted of some of your happy hormones. So it's also worth it to just have a little you time when you're hungover and just kind of get right with yourself. You had fun, so now pivot.
Yep. And if you feel like shit, where you like, I'm sure we've all been there, where you're like, I literally can't even get off the couch. Just try to get yourself moving in whatever way you can. Like, go outside, start with like sitting on your front porch or in your
Yep.
backyard, and just like walk around a little bit because movement does help. Walk, sweat a little bit. If you can, try to get like to the gym so you can sweat a little bit. Let your body process out all of the alcohol that's in your body.
Yeah. I would say even call a friend. And the best part about going out is the debrief morning,
Yeah.
right?
Honestly, I
So,
am the funniest the next day when I'm, like, hungover.
because there's so much to talk about. There's
What's the science
so
what's the science behind being funnier when you're hungover?
You might just be still a little drunk. Here's the thing, is that the other part about and this is the thing that I was trying to remember before. When we say, "I'm not drinking tonight," there's that weird awkward exchange that happens where they're like, "Oh, you're not drinking?" And then they, like, judge themselves. They are either judging themselves or you're giving them a chance to also level up with you. So
Facts. Mic
yeah.
drop.
If you keep dimming your light on your goals and keep saying like, "Oh, sure, I'll do it." Your goals are not gonna be achieved, not because you're doing the wrong things, but because they clearly don't matter enough to you.
Mm.
So, allow this person to step up with you and say, "I'm not drinking today because I gotta work out in the morning. You wanna come?" Allow
Boom.
allow
Open the
them.
invitation.
Yeah, allow them to step up with you, and that is how together we rise.
Hot girls call their friends forward.
And call them on their hangover walks because a debrief is the best part about going out.
Send your friends a party full with, like, the most ridiculous information of, like, "We're going on this hangover hot girl walk,
Absolutely. I
10
think
AM."
the more, piecemeal your outfit is as well, the better it is, right? Like, you've got a shirt from, like, high school on, you've got, like, 2 different shoes. It doesn't you totally had the ability to choose that outfit, but you look silly.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, And remember, you don't get more karma points for being perfect. Alcohol isn't like a moral issue until it's really, really bad. It's just another variable that we have to control and that we can control with a little nuance.
Yeah, and you can be fun and also disciplined. You can party and PR. Just be intentional and maybe eat some chicken first.
Bag chicken.
Chicken in a bag. If this episode called you out, send it to a friend who keeps ordering tequila shots when you said you were done.
And as always, thank you for following us along on this journey. Connect with us on Instagram at overt_thinking podcast, at Brianna Lamb, and at Kelsey Michelle. And we will see you in
In
the
the next
next
episode.
episode.